You found the skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on this.
All right, we are live with Kent for Ben 16, Citizen Kent. We're continuing with part 4, or seminar 4 of Hovind's seminar series. I gotta stop saying seminar so much. All right, Bent, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. I got some Shiraz here. I'm going with wine today. I know, it's a little crazy.
Nice.
Yep. So actually, today we have new follow along at home rules. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to follow along, and only if you're of age and you are doing so responsibly, so no driving after this if you're going to participate, we're going to drink whenever Kent gets anything right. You can personally drink whenever you just can't take whatever he's saying, because that's going to be pretty often. And whenever you hear a Godzilla roar, which Bent is going to demonstrate right now. If he could. It might take a few seconds. There's a little bit of a delay. Yeah. You hear that sound? You gotta drink. So here's my first drink.
Drink you? I see you in the chat not drinking. Do it.
Or
You
don't.
wouldn't have a drink yet.
Or don't. They don't have to play along. It's just if they want
You
to.
have to play along.
No, you don't.
have to play along.
Oh. There are no requirements about alcohol on any of my streams for anyone, participants or otherwise. I'm just saying, if you want to play along, that's how you do it.
It's a fun game, but don't die of alcohol poisoning.
Right. So, there you go. Remember, can't get something wrong, you can't take the stupid, or you hear Godzilla.
Can't get something right.
Oh, yeah, can't get something right. Yeah,
Stupid.
right. Okay, you can't take the stupid, or there's Godzilla. There we go. Those are the rules.
I need to write these rules down.
Well, write them down. I'll put them on screen sometime. I'll make up a nice little picture. But we're going to start going with this, because we're already 2 minutes in. We haven't heard anything stupid from Kent yet, which means he hasn't been talking.
Why are they stacked on top of each other just like a stack of pancakes?
Okay, so this is in his question about why aren't there erosion layers, right? So why are they stopped on top of each other like a stack of pancakes? Okay, so let's say you lay down some sediment. Then there's a period where there's no deposition, maybe there's a little bit of erosion, and then you lay down more sediment. Where's it going to go other than directly on top of the previous sediment? What are the other options? Is there going to be just an air gap? There's going to be a force field over some areas of the sediment where there's going to be a gap? You can think about it like if you're making a parfait. You ever make a parfait, Ben?
No.
You ever eat a parfait?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how they lay down the layers one at a time?
Yeah.
Ever wonder why there are no big gaps between the layers?
No.
Yeah, because we're...
No, I just assume that it's because, gravity's going to pull
Exactly.
things down.
Maybe Kent...
It's not going to be like a vacuum in between.
Maybe Kent is a flat earther after all.
Even that wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
He might be dumber than a flat earther. In some ways.
Why are there no soil layers between the rock layers?
Well,
Soil builds up on top of rock.
is he asking why there isn't actual soil? Oh, first of all, soil builds up on rock. That's true, so we're taking a drink. Okay. But is he asking why there isn't actual soil? Because it lithifies, but we can find soil horizons in the geological column. We can find areas where we know it was soil. There are what's called paleosoils, where we have in situ animal burrows and plant in general roots, right? And so we know it was a paleosoil. So there is dirt between some of the layers, but these layers are made up of what was once something you might call dirt, because that's the kind of thing that it lithifies from sediment to, well, yeah, soil, dirt, whatever. Oh yeah, Robert Addison, he's serious. He thinks that there are no dirt layers in there, or at least no soil horizons. Yeah, he thinks that.
Do you think there'll be some soil built up once in a while? Look, if you get a jar of dirt and rocks and gravel and sand and mud and shake it up and set it down, it settles into layers for you.
That was an awkward hand motion, I'm just gonna say it. But okay. And yes, look, this is a wonderful display of what's called graded bedding, the exact thing that we do not see in the geological column, where orders of things like gravel and silt and sand and clay, or rather they're lithified, you know, sedimentary rock forms, are all up and down in different layers all over the place. You'll get you'll get a thing that's like solidified from gravel, then you'll get some like fine silt shale, then you'll get like a layer of sandstone on top of that, followed by more gravel. So yeah, this doesn't work. That's not how it works.
The best part of this is that he labeled the graduated cylinder.
Oh, well, yes, that is nice. And it doesn't actually have to be a graduated cylinder either. Like, you don't have to put
it does
volume
because
marks.
It's labeled.
Oh, okay. If you do this in a non-graduated cylinder, it won't work. And TD Lane says, what he wants are unconformities, which, big surprise, are there. Yeah, it's true. Actually, if you watch the very end of our last episode, we point that out. They're like, there are a lot of unconformities all over the Grand Canyon. So, in fact, the Archean bedrock has so many unconformities that it's actually lying diagonally. So, ooh.
In a few minutes. Doesn't take long. How many seen those things you buy at the mall with 2 pieces of glass and different colored sand in between? You know, you flip it over and it makes all kinds of layers just in a few seconds. It doesn't take long. I was preaching years ago in Union Center, South Dakota. Now, Union Center is right there. It's not even on the map.
Wait, should we pull up Google Maps and check to see if it's on the map?
Yes, do that, please.
I don't know. So here's the thing. He's probably using some kind of road atlas. How are people going to see it? Are you going to screen share?
No.
All right, well, good luck.
I'll send a link to it.
Okay.
What was it?
And South Dakota puts everything they can find on the map just to kind of fill in the white places, you know. Well, there were 40 people in the whole town. 38 of them came to church. Other 2 must have been pulling a calf, I reckon. I don't know. But boy, we had a great meeting, and the preacher said, hey, Hovind, let's go down to Rapid City. They've got a bunch of dinosaurs in the museum.
Really long link. I can't link it.
Okay, hold on. He said that they have a lot of dinosaurs in the museum there, and I believe you on that one, Kent. So we're going to drink for being right. Kent is right. There were dinosaurs in that museum.
I don't believe him, but I'm going to drink anyway.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
I said, oh, all right, I like dinosaurs. Let's go. So we all drove down to Rapid City. We came to this museum, and a guide met us at the door. He said, hey, folks, would you like me to give you a tour? We said, that would be great, sir. Well, the first place we stopped on the tour was the Geologic Time Chart. They have it lit up, and it's behind glass.
Okay, hold on. The first place you went to was in, like, what seems to be a back room. You didn't, like, start at the front of the museum? Sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just a story. A story that's probably false.
And it's holy and sacred. Don't dare touch that thing, you know. So we're standing over there, and the guide said, now, folks, this layer of rock right here is about 70 million years old.
So, yeah, that museum in Rapid City is over 60 miles away from Union Center. So
Well, then.
I
I feel like this story didn't happen, but I feel like they do have dinosaurs there.
Like the guy he visited is in that town of 30 people or whatever in Union Center, and then they just drove to the nearest city with a museum, I guess. I don't know.
Drove like an hour to get to a museum. I mean, it's not impossible.
It's in the middle of South Dakota. I mean, they drove to Rapid City to get to this museum, so.
It's not entirely implausible. But I do believe that Kent is correct when he says that the museum has dinosaurs. We haven't seen any yet, but I bet it has them.
It's so cool, because they always get that sanctimonious tone in their voice, you know. 70 million years old. Oh.
Yes, that's an accurate depiction. Oh, drink!
What?
Drink.
He said, mister, how do you know that layer is 70 million years old?
That was Godzilla.
He said, honey, that's
Was
a
that
good
you,
question.
Bent?
We tell the
Yeah.
age of the layers by what types of fossils we find in
I'm
them. They're called
thirsty.
index fossils. And by the way, that's correct. That's what the textbook says. Scientists use index fossils to determine the age of rock layers.
Oh, wait, that's sort of true. They use it to determine the relative age of rock layers, so I'm going to go ahead and say drink, because I want to give one to Kent. Okay. Which, by the way, Bent, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, I am drinking a kombucha.
There you go.
And I also have a ginger beer that's getting warmer.
For those of you who don't know,
Glass of ice.
kombucha is what happens to tea when you let it get moldy.
Bold.
She said, thank you, sir. We walked around the other side. We're standing over here, and the guide said, now, folks, these bones are about 100 million years old.
Ooh.
My daughter raised her hand again. She said, sir, how do you know those bones are 100 million years old?
Why did he bow?
Oh, he's demonstrating how they're being sanctimonious. He's pretending that scientists have a religious reverence for their dating methods, even though they just have high levels of confidence.
All right.
Yeah.
He said, well, honey, we tell the age of the bones by which layer they came from. She said, sir, when we were standing over there, you told me you knew the age of the layers by the bones, and now you're telling me you know the age of the bones by the layers. She said, isn't that circular reasoning?
No, it's not, because what's actually going on is that the relative ordering of the fossil-bearing layers was established by means of index fossils, and then the absolute ages of these were checked with radiometric dating, and so now we have pretty good estimates, and then which non-index fossils are found in which layers with actual index fossils are then used to determine what kind of rock that is, based on the fact that there are sedimentary rock layers that you can correlate across the world, and you can use igneous intrusions to bracket their ages.
Now, when you said what kind of rock, what do you mean by kind?
What did I say exactly?
You're talking about what kind of rock they were in?
Oh, well, what layer
What do you mean
of
by
rock,
kind?
basically. Basically, in this case, it's like the difference between different genuses of sedimentary rock, genera, if you will.
So it is possible to define a kind.
It is, although Kent Hovind seems loath to do so.
Nice.
I thought, wow, a chip off the old block. That guy had the strangest look on his face. It was almost as if he were thinking.
I don't believe you. I love that this is apparently Kent Hovind's self-image. Because you know that he's the one who had this drawn. I doubt he's the one who drew it. But, like, that's how he sees himself.
Was that Bernie Sanders?
It looks kind of like it. But, like, Kent Hovind has this, like, strong, square jawline and these super defined cheekbones and this, you know, like, Roman aquiline nose.
And that pose of smugness.
Right. This is clearly Kent Hovind as he sees himself in his own mind. And it is... Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's narcissist. He has a narcissistic personality disorder, because I'm not a psychologist. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't be surprised if after examination by a psychologist, he were given that diagnosis.
Yeah.
You looked at my daughter, you looked at me, I wasn't about to help him. I thought, wow, this is going to be good. I have got to hear this. He looked back at my daughter, he said, wow, you're right, that is circular reasoning. He said, I never thought of that.
No, he didn't. That didn't happen.
I drove 50 miles one way that night to hear me come.
And then everyone clapped.
Union Center,
Yay, Kent.
Oh, Kent says it was 50 miles. 50 or 60?
63 miles from Union Center, South Dakota to Rapid City, South Dakota.
Well, maybe the museum is closer to Union Center than the... So, at least he's getting the rough scale of things correct, which is better than he usually does, because normally he's, what, like 6 orders of magnitude off?
Yeah.
Okay.
South Dakota. The crowd swelled to 39. We set up a chair in the aisle. Afterwards, he talked to me for an hour. He said, Hovind, is everything I believe about geology wrong? I teach this stuff at the college.
This never happened.
No, I like geology. I've got a huge fossil collection, rock collection, mineral collection. I teach earth.
He does have a collection of those things, so that was true.
He told the truth.
Science, I love studying geology. I said, but as far as the layers being different ages, I said, yes, sir, I'm sorry. That is all baloney. It's based on circular reasoning. I'll show you.
It's not.
Here's a textbook that tells the kids to date the rocks by the fossils, and on the very next page it says date the fossils by the rocks. On the next page, and they don't catch it. It's a lie. It's circular reasoning. The intelligent layman has long...
Look, I will give Kent this. The way that it's often explained in textbooks for kids, or even just like lay-level explanations of geology and paleontology, is confusing. Paleontologists and geologists have done a bad job at communicating the way that these layers are actually dated. And that's why he can be dishonest about this. And you can say, oh, he's not being dishonest. Well, he either is being dishonest or he hasn't looked into this. But if he hasn't looked into it and he's presenting himself as an expert in it, then he's being dishonest because he's dishonestly representing himself as an expert.
Look, he found a textbook that did seem circular in its reasoning, and he stopped there and said, confirmation bias, here we go.
Exactly.
And if the textbook really does say that, then he's telling the truth about what that textbook says. I will drink to that.
All right, fair enough. That's probably an accurate quotation, even if it is a quote line.
Plus, I'm just thirsty.
All right, fair enough, fair enough.
Circular reasoning in the use of rocks to date fossils and fossils to date rocks, the geologist has never bothered to think of a good reply, feeling the explanations are not worth the trouble as long as the work brings results. It cannot be denied, from a strictly philosophical standpoint, geologists are arguing in a circle.
Yes, it can.
The relative ages of rocks are determined by the organisms they contain.
I love how he even puts it out there, the relative ages. He doesn't draw any attention to the fact that there's a difference between relative and absolute ages. But who cares, right? I mean...
Yeah, who cares?
Why be honest when you can just lie to people in order to get them to believe your version of Christianity?
Date the rocks by the fossils and the fossils by the rocks. Ever since the beginning of the 19th century, fossils have been and still are the best and most accurate method of dating and correlating the rocks in which they occur. Apart from very modern examples, which really are archaeology, I can think of no cases of radioactive decay being used to date fossils.
Well, yeah, they're not used to date the fossils. They're used to bracket the ages of the sediments in which fossils are found. Because one of the things about radiometric dating is it can't be used on sedimentary rock. And the reason for that is that if you were to take sedimentary rock and try to use radiometric dating, what you would actually be dating is when the sediments in the rock were actually part of an igneous or metamorphic formation. And then they were eroded into sediment. So you don't know when the sediment was laid down. You know when the sediment, the particles that form the sediment were, weren't lava anymore, basically. So you can date something, it's just not when that sedimentary rock was put down, which means you don't know when fossils in it were put down, because a rock could have formed 1 billion years ago and only now be eroding. And then in a few million years, it could have lithified. So if you were to date that radiometrically, it would be dating the 1 billion years ago when the rock formed. Well, that doesn't really help you if you're trying to look at fossils in that rock. But if you have a, say, ash layer below this layer of sedimentary rock, you can date that. And if above it you have, say, like a basalt flow, you can date that. And then the sedimentary rock between them has to have been between this age, the older age of the ash layer, and the younger age of the basalt flow. Hooray for science!
Don't date fossils by potassium-argon dating or carbon dating. That's not how they do it. Radiometric dating would not even be possible if the geologic column had not been erected first.
Well, that's not really true, but okay. I disagree with O'Rourke, whoever that is. I love this. This is from January 1976, and Kent gave this speech in like the early 2000s. Like, oh my goodness, Kent. Mate. Okay, hold on. I have to drink now because I can't handle the stupid. Okay, there we go. Sorry. There's times where I'm just like, nope, just gotta have a drink.
There's no way simply to look at a fossil and say how old it is unless you know the age of the rocks it comes from.
That's basically true.
Eldredge,
yeah.
One of the most famous evolutionists alive today. He said, and this poses something of a problem. Yeah, something poses a big problem, Niall. If we date the rocks by the fossils, how can we then turn around and talk about patterns of evolutionary change through time in the fossil record? Circular reasoning.
Do you think maybe Niles Eldredge went on to give an explanation in that book? Maybe?
I bet he did.
Yeah. It's almost like you're cutting off him proposing a potential problem right before he goes on to explain the solution. Kind of like creationists do when they use the Darwin quote about the eye, where he's like, I think it seems most preposterous to have supposed that the eye could have formed by, I'm paraphrasing here, by all these gradual processes. And then Darwin goes into a detailed explanation of why that's not preposterous and how it totally could have happened, using real-world organisms with these various kinds of eyes as examples. Yeah, somehow I'm going to go ahead and guess that that's what Niles Eldredge did. But I don't care enough to actually look up that book, because it's from 85. Science has moved on.
I said the rocks do date the fossils.
Nice.
But the fossils date the rocks more accurately. I think the cheese done fell out of his sandwich. That's what I think. Okay,
Is that a thing? Is that a saying? Cheese fell out of his sandwich?
It is now. I don't know if it was before.
Fair enough.
Reasoning can be handled several ways. It can be ignored.
I guess they say it in a Union Center all the time.
By calling down the law of evolution.
It's what they
It can
do
be
there.
admitted as a common practice or avoided by pragmatic reasoning. But it is all based on circular reasoning. Actually, at the Scopes monkey trial, 1925, over here in Dayton, Tennessee.
Good old Scopes monkey trial.
100 miles, okay? This is what they were going to use as evidence for evolution. The lowest layers are obviously the oldest.
That's true. I'm going to drink to that. Mostly because if the lowest layers weren't the oldest, what would the upper layers have been laid down on? Oh,
Science.
hey! $9.99 super chat from Philip Judge. Science. Thank you very much, Philip Judge. Much appreciated.
Page 275 of the...
I'll drink to that.
You want to drink for super chats? Is that
I'll drink to super chats.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. We'll drink to super chats. All right, that's a fourth rule. Drink for super chats. And thank you very much for your generous donation, Philip. We really appreciate that here at Dapper Dino.
No, the oldest layers are not obviously the oldest. Did you know in still water, sediment layers settle out, the bottom one first, and then the second one, and then the third one? That's correct. But in moving water, you can get 5 or 6 or 10 layers to form simultaneously. They form from one end and travel across. So it's...
Yeah, but in layers of graded bedding, Kent, and they're all one stratum. Because they're all obviously from the same depositional event. Or it might not be that obvious, but you can determine it because it's unusual to find multiple layers of graded bedding. And even his diagram with that color gradient is expressing a graded bedding. He's using a heat map, basically, for particle density. Like, even his own example shows why he's being stupid. But hey, sure, okay, hold on, that was too stupid, I have to drink.
I'm out.
No, well, you'll have to get something else to drink.
It's possible to have a fossil on the bottom that is younger than a fossil on top.
Yeah, by like a few seconds, Kent. No one in geological terms is measuring a few seconds. There you go, some cock and bull ginger beer?
I hold it sideways, but then it would spill everywhere.
Who was it that introduced you to ginger beer?
Some dapper dinosaur, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And I was
There
like,
you go.
I don't drink beer anymore.
Does Kent have peanut butter stuck to the roof of his mouth? He does have that sort of like choppy way of speaking. I like that. Thanks, Phil.
If it's moving water. There's a great video tape called Experiments in Stratification. It covers all that if you want more on that. Or get our video number 6. We'll get more of that later. I like to ask evolutionists, I say, guys, your geologic column contains limestone quite a few places.
Yeah.
If I handed you a piece of limestone, how would you know if it's 100 million year old Jurassic limestone or 600 million year old Cambrian limestone? I mean, exactly what's the difference?
I wouldn't.
You'd say, well, the only way to tell the difference is by the index fossils.
No, that's not true. That is a way, but if I know where it comes from and that area has bracketing igneous rocks, then I can give you an age range based on those bracketing rocks. But yeah, if you just hand me a piece of sandstone or limestone or whatever without any context, no, I can't tell you how old it is based on just a hunk of rock that's sedimentary.
That's precisely my point. They date the layers by the fossils.
And there's that
Shows the kids a trilobite.
Don't you mean smudgeness?
Yeah.
Well. Oh, hey, here's a trilobite. The thing that Kent thinks is the exact same thing as a crustacean, even though it's totally not.
And it says, boys and girls, trilobites make good index fossils.
They do.
If a trilobite is found in a rock layer, the rock layer probably formed 500 to 600 million years ago. I don't think so.
So I will actually... You know what? He said something right. That's not quite true. So take a drink. Because trilobites do they do continue on until the end of the Paleozoic. So if all you know is that there's a trilobite, you know it's Paleozoic. But the Paleozoic lasted a whole lot more than 100 million years, so...
Somebody found a human shoe print where the guy with a shoe on had stepped on and smashed a trilobite.
Wait, what? Is that an unambiguous shoe?
Can you see the trilobite there?
Not really.
That's because it's not there.
I see a rock. I mean, I was going to say, maybe I could believe him that that's a trilobite, but then I realized No, I don't trust Kent on basically
It
anything.
doesn't look like one.
Oh, it is a photo from Reader's Digest, Mysteries of the Unexplained. That's a very reputable science source.
They asked evolutionists all over, how on earth could a human step on a trilobite?
And
Doesn't look like a trilobite.
or a
At all.
human, or a human footprint. And Nestle20 points out it's at least 250 million years old for the trilobite. Yeah, that's the thing. They were like, oh, it's 600 to 500 million years old. Like, no, they lasted a lot longer. Now, if you're very good at, trilobite systematics, you can narrow it down because, there are certain genera that are widespread at various different times. So, but yeah, I don't see the human footprint, nor am I sure that that's a trilobite. I mean, it's something. But is it a trilobite? Maybe.
Trilobites lived 500 million years ago, and man didn't get here till, 3 million years ago, and they didn't start wearing shoes till 10,000 years ago. How could a human step on a trilobite? One atheist said, well, it's obviously.
That at least somewhat
represents or
looks kind of like a
Yeah, I'm
resembles.
back it up. Yeah, that actually, I'm going to go ahead and say that is definitely a trilobite. Because I can see the three-lobe structure going, from front to back. You can also see an eye spot in the upper right. You can see a glabellar section of the cephalon. You can see the in the middle lobe at the interior end. You can see the bulge that houses the stomach. That is a trilobite. But as to whether or not that's a shoe, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look very much like a shoe. It's vaguely longish. That's about all I can say about it. Oh! Drink! I bet that totally wasn't Kent Hovind.
No.
One atheist said, well, it's obviously. Only answer would be that aliens visited the planet 500 million years ago. Oh, them aliens will do it every time. Another guy said, well, maybe there was a large trilobite shaped like a shoe that fell on a small one.
I mean, that is a more likely explanation. How have you ruled this out?
Now, there are some big trilobites, okay, but I don't think they're shaped like a shoe. Actually,
the ones you showed were just more or less shaped like a shoe.
Kent, come on.
I mean, did it look exactly like that depression? No, but are those the only things that existed that could have made those impressions? Also no. What if a piece of sponge got broken off by some predator that was eating sponges and it fell? That'd do it too. Plus, he seems to be assuming that this is a live trilobite that's crawling around the ocean floor. But in fact, most fossils that you find of trilobites are actually shed exoskeletons. And one of the ways you can tell this is because the glabella, which is on either side of the cephalon, tends to be broken off, and those are the breakage points for the animal to actually help crawl out of its exoskeleton. In fact, I have a fossil trilobite on my entertainment center, and one of the glabellas is missing. The left glabella is missing, and the right glabella is separated by about a half an inch or so from the rest of the cephalon. Because what I have is an exoskeleton shed, not a dead trilobite. So it's entirely possible that whatever fell onto a shed trilobite exoskeleton and not an actual living trilobite, because, yeah. Which would explain why the trilobite didn't just crawl away and why it got crushed so thoroughly.
trilobite has the most complicated eyeball ever. Trilobite eyes are unbelievable.
Wait, what do we do for Mothra sounds?
I don't know. I'll drink to that.
All right, well, we'll drink for Mothra sounds. That means my drink is out, so I gotta pour some more. So bear with me.
Goodness, how big is your glass?
It's a juice glass.
A large one?
Yes, it is actually a large one. Yep. I'm not playing today.
I can tell.
And this is one of the first creatures to evolve, and it already has the most complex eye, which just the eye is one of the most complex features you could have. Now, trilobites are not index fossils for anything, okay?
I mean, they are. They're index fossils for the Paleozoic, and more specifically, various genera are index fossils for various layers. And the thing is, even if we couldn't absolutely date them, they would remain index fossils because they are found consistently in the geological column in a particular order. And they are found in a widespread geographic distribution, but a very short vertical distribution. You don't have to go very high up in the layers of the rock before you stop seeing various genera of trilobites that have a global distribution, which is what you want for an index fossil, because it allows you to correlate layers of sedimentary rock from one part of the globe with layers from the other part. It's one of the reasons why marine fossils are such good index fossils. There are very few like land animal index fossils, and even fewer vertebrate ones, because vertebrates tend to have very narrow ranges geographically. In fact, one of the few vertebrate fossils that I can think of that are really good index fossils is Aedosaur scutes, which are actually a really good index fossil for the Triassic. And if you don't know what an Aedosaur is, it's basically like if you took an armadillo and a crocodile and a pig, and they had a weird love child with 3 of them. And they're amazing, and you should look them up. It's Aeotosaur, Aedosaur. Look them up.
There are all kinds of different types of trilobites, and there probably are some still alive today.
Oh, here we go.
Certainly the Baltic isopod is still alive.
It is still alive, but it's not a trilobite. It doesn't have the 3-lobe structure, which is the whole point of a trilobite, right? The lobes go from front to back, right? It's only got 1 lobe, so it's a unilobite? Unilobite? I don't know. Look at the eyes. They're not on the anterior, or sorry, the dorsal surface of this cephalon. They're actually back from it. Look at the limbs. They don't actually match. Trilobites had biramous limbs. This has uniramous limbs. This has its antennae projecting from the anterior side of the cephalon, as opposed to projecting from the ventral side. Everything about this isn't a trilobite. This is a crustacean. Trilobites weren't crustaceans. They were a sister group to chelicerates.
Kent just has no idea.
He really doesn't. This is as stupid as when he says that a Jackson chameleon is a triceratops.
Take like a bag of the ruffles with ridges and take one of the chips out and see if he thinks that's a trilobite.
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
I saw a couple weeks ago, about a couple months ago, I guess, a whole jar full of trilobites from the Prudhoe Bay.
Oh, Mothra noises. Take a drink.
Wow, Mothra's going crazy.
I know. She's having a good time.
Water treatment plant up there for the oil factory they've got, oil refining rig. When they arrived in Pensacola, Florida, they were still alive in the jar. But I don't know how to keep a trilobite alive. I mean, you give it mouth to what, some resuscitation, but they all died, but we got them in our museum there.
What is he supposed to have there? That's not a Baltic isopod. I can tell you that for sure. For one thing, Baltic isopods don't have telsons.
Of course not.
If anything, that looks like a model of a Eurypterid. And actually, I think that's what that is. I think he's misrepresenting a model of a Eurypterid as an actual isopod, which he thinks is an actual trilobite. Which... Okay, no, I have to drink. Oh my... No, I have to do it again. Okay, now we can keep going. Sorry.
All right.
Somebody just sent me a large one that they got down in the Caribbean, about this big. It's in our museum, and it was frozen. They said, yeah, I pulled it off the rock myself down in the Caribbean. Still alive.
Did you, though?
Kind of roach. Roach. It looks like a big trilobite.
Do you have a picture of it?
It shows the kids a...
No, you're just going to say some guy found a trilobite? Didn't take a picture of it? They called it a roach? That's supposed to be evidence of something? Some guy somewhere maybe saw a trilobite?
You calling that guy a liar?
No, I'm calling that guy someone who doesn't know enough about the subject to comment on it.
Practically wrong.
It is practically wrong. Yeah, it is practically wrong, yeah. Do I know Standing for Truth? I don't know him well. We've had a few correspondences. We've talked in some chats. We've had some emails. He actually believes Kent's claim that trilobites aren't extinct, or maybe he used to. Oh my goodness. Oh, does he really? Oh my god. That deserves a drink for Standing for Truth. Because that's really stupid.
It's ridiculous.
I honestly did not know that about Standing for Truth. That is amazing. Okay.
Graptolite. It says, boys and
Oh,
girls,
graptolite.
this is 410 million years old. I don't think so. Graptolites were found still alive in the South Pacific 10 years ago.
Well, so I actually looked into this because I heard Kent's claim on somewhere else, or maybe it was actually here, and so I looked into it. There are some animals which might be closely related to the extinct graptolites. They might be closely enough related to actually be graptolites, but they might actually not be very closely related at all. And there are some morphological similarities, but there are also some deep morphological differences. And it's still currently up in the air, and because we can't do things like get genetic sequences from extinct organisms, it's really iffy. So, maybe.
So if you find graptolite, you can't use that as an index fossil for any age rock, okay?
Yes,
Tell
you
the
can.
kids in school the lobe-finned fish is the index fossil for Devonian. 320.
Is it, though? I'm going to look that up. What's the Devonian index fossil? Well, there's more than one, but index fossil Devonian. I can spell. Oh, brachiopods, trilobites, ammonites, conodonts, acritarchs, jawless fish, and placoderms. Those are major groups there in the Devonian. Okay, and of course, he's actually portraying a non-Devonian organism. Those are, I believe, Silurian. Let's see. Devonian... Let's see, we got, that's a brachiopod. I'll just control search for Devonian. Devonian. Yeah, the only two I'm seeing are yeah. Oh, well, actually, let's double check this. Yep, all I see for Devonian index fossils are a brachipod and a conodont genus. So, no, Kent, you're just lying. Graptolites may be a case like dinosaurs. This is from Nestle 20. It may be a paraphyletic group that includes an extant group. Yes, that's true. It may well be a group that includes some extant groups. There's one group that is a good candidate, but it's not clear. So, and as far as I know, graptolites are actually not normally used as a big index fossil, but doesn't matter. Ken is certainly lying that lobe-finned fish are an index fossil for the Devonian, because they're not.
25 million years old. See that short leg, boys and girls? He's got a little bitty leg and then the fin. Ah, see, that proves he's evolving from a leg to a fin. No, that's a lie. The lobe-finned fish are still alive today.
Yeah? Kent, you tell people that your ancestors are Norwegian. If you evolved from Norwegians, then why are there still Norwegians, Kent? Answer me that, huh?
Boom, roasted.
I guess you're not Norwegian after all. Or maybe Norwegians don't exist?
Roasted.
They're swimming around the Indian Ocean.
Kent, you're a lobe-finned fish. Literally.
And when they caught the first one in 1938, the scientists looked at it and said, wow, would you look at that? They survived for 325 million years.
No, the...
Can't take the stupid.
Yeah, I have to drink again. Okay, the period at which lobe-finned fish's fossil record ends is absolutely never. Because guess what? Lungfish, like the African or South American lungfish, yeah, they're lobe-finned fish, Kent. Now, granted, they're not coelacanths, which is what you're looking at, which is the particular group that people talk about as having disappeared from the fossil record. But the fossil record of coelacanths ends at the end of the Mesozoic, which is not 325 million years old, it's 66 million years ago. Now, the reason for this is because all but the deep water species went extinct at the end of the Mesozoic. And one of the problems about deep sea creatures is that they live in places that are fundamentally unsuited for both fossilization and exploration for fossils. No one is going down in a deep sea rig to hunt for fossils. It's just not practical. And there probably aren't very many of them because lithification of sediments is pretty darn rare in the deep sea. So, oh, and hey, Maya's here. Maya, welcome to the stream. Everyone, say hi to Maya because Maya's the best.
Hi, Maya. I'll drink to Maya.
Drink to Maya, yeah.
If you're not drinking to Maya, you're not drinking correctly.
Hey, people can drink however they want.
It never dawned on them once to question the geologic column. That thought never crossed their brain.
Right, because a late surviving member of a old group doesn't in any way invalidate the geological column. That's why. It's like if someone said, "Oh, hey, Bent, did you hear that they found a Viking ruin in Canada?"
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh,
But I don't doubt it.
but doesn't that make you question whether or not all the events in the book of First Kings in the Bible could be true?
No, because I'm not crazy.
Right, because how could it? Why
Well,
would
I
it?
am crazy, but in a different way.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
You don't question the geologic column. It is holy and sacred.
No,
You
it's
just have to
not.
survive for 325 million years.
Or 66 million years, you know.
Just like the Norwegians survived for so long.
It's in the textbooks today. And
Should
they
be.
still say it's the index fossil for 325 million year old rock, even though
No, they don't.
they're swimming around the ocean.
No, they don't. They don't say
How
that.
could they be that dumb? This lady wrote a book about it. A fish caught in time.
How could they be that dumb to believe your lies, Kent? That's the real question. How could no one have ever bothered to go and check on this?
Says, boys and girls, this is our own great uncle, 40 million times removed.
I mean, I guess
It does look a little
kinda.
fishy, you know, kind of around the gills there. Okay. You're
That
gonna
is
be
the
told that
worst.
Dinosaurs are index fossils for the Jurassic period. 70.
I thought it was funny. Sorry.
All right, fair. But what? There are dinosaurs in the Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous, all through the Cenozoic. So, you know, like the Tertiary, the Quaternary, the Miocene, Eocene, all of these things, there are dinosaurs. Now, granted, after the Mesozoic, they're all birds. But no, you cannot just say, "Oh, I found a dinosaur," which, by the way, Kent, you don't know what that is some, 15 years later. You still don't know what a damn dinosaur is, despite calling yourself Dr. Dino, and your email address being drdino@drdino.com. But no,
That's just lines on paper.
they are not index fossils for the Jurassic period.
That's just lines on paper.
I'm already getting angry, and we haven't even been on for an hour.
I know.
Million or Cretaceous, 70
No, I'm
million.
not really angry,
That's
but
baloney. Dinosaur bones were found here recently that had blood cells still in them.
well, first of all, no. There were structures found that were morphologically consistent with blood cells. The data does not support to a sufficient degree their identity as blood cells. But you could have just said osteocytes, because there actually were fairly well-confirmed osteocytes found, but that doesn't sound sexy enough. By the way,
It
everybody...
does too.
Well, it does to you.
Yeah, to me it does.
Right, but you're a cytologist,
Yeah.
which is not what most people are.
Well, they should be.
Okay, well, I feel like a world where most people were cytologists probably wouldn't be a very good world.
I guess.
Yeah.
Tough job competition.
Right. Plus, who would be doing all the farming and mining and smelting and construction and all that stuff? Designing computer. Oh! I feel like that was Ben.
I was thirsty.
But we drink for Godzilla. But yeah, anyway. I really hate how creationists have treated Mary Schweitzer. I need to get a hold of her. I'm going to ask Eric Vertaler to get me in touch with her, because he has had a phone call from her. So
Who do that?
How long are the blood cells going to last? There's soft tissue.
it depends, Kent. If they're in a very high iron environment, they can last for tens of millions of years, as has been demonstrated experimentally.
Found with dinosaur bones. Still flexible, soft tissue in March of 2005.
Okay, so technically he's right, so I'm going to drink for it. But here's the thing. The way he's pointing, he's saying this is he's saying this like, oh, you just crack open a dinosaur bone and it's going to be dripping with blood and soft tissue, and you can scoop out the marrow and put it on your toast. Which, by the way, cook some marrow and put it on your toast. It's delicious. Also hit like, because that helps the channel.
Yeah, there's not enough likes on this video.
Yeah, I'm only seeing 9. There's 35
I'm
of you
seeing
watching.
10, and there should be at least 16, because that's what the episode we're on is.
There you go. There you go. Anyway, but it's not the case. Mary Schweitzer, who was the discoverer of these, basically accidentally left some samples from a T-Rex femur in an acid bath, like for 2 weeks. Basically, she forgot about them and was like, oops, I guess I ruined these samples. But then when she looked in there, she was like, oh, hey, there's stretchy, springy stuff. That's weird. And then she went to her mentor, which I believe is Jack Horner, and was like, hey, I found this. It's might be dinosaur soft tissue. He was like, you think so? And she was like, I don't know. And then he said, well, prove it's not. And she couldn't. And once she realized she couldn't prove it wasn't, she published. That's the actual story.
There's fossilized human hands found in the same rock strata as dinosaur bones. Now, they tell you the layers are different ages. That's simply baloney, okay?
Oh, hold on. Now we're at 19, but this is only 16. Ah! We ruined it with the likes. Now we have too many likes. No, I'm kidding. Hit like all the time.
All right, I'll change mine to a dislike.
No, or do. I mean, I don't really care. All that soft tissue was only made soft once all the mineral matrix was dissolved in acid. Yep, exactly. Oh, Joseph Grant loves roasted marrow? Yeah, because Joseph Grant is a smart guy who knows how to cook some marrow. Yeah. Toss a cow femur in your oven. Look up the temperatures online, because I don't remember. But yeah. Crack it open. Pull out that marrow. Put it on some toast or something. Delicious. Delicious.
Sounds good.
It is really good.
Now, Charlie Darwin didn't like round numbers, so he said the Wealdian deposits are 306,662,400 years old.
Yeah, I actually looked up this letter. He then says, let's say about 300,000. Because what he did was he divided the general deposition time that was already known, or deposition rate, sorry, by the thickness to get a time. Because, you know, math. And yeah, it gave him this crazy number. And he was like, well, let's just call it 300,000. So Kent's just straight up lying about Charles Darwin again. Because he lies about Charles Darwin constantly.
Oh, how could he possibly know such a thing? Okay. All over the world, petrified trees are found.
I'm taking a drink.
Connecting.
That was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drink to that
Petrified
too.
trees standing up. Now,
okay, now I know we've gone over the Polystrate fossils on this video series before. But whatever. Oh, he said 350, says Philip Judge. Thank you. Or was it 350? I don't know. I believe you. I don't have a reason to. Oh, that's the temperature for roasting.
Yeah.
There you go. I was so confused. I was like, was it 350 million? I don't know why he would round it that way, but no. We're talking about roasting some marrow. Yes. Yes, listen to Philip Judge on how to cook marrow, because Philip Judge is someone who I trust on that, because he likes marrow, because he said marrow is amazing. So there you go. Anyway, so I know I've talked about this whole Polystrate fossil thing. So the thing is, there are different kinds of layers in the geological column. So some of them are called laminations, which is when you have a layered stratum. So a stratum is a single depositional environment, but the environment might not be continuous. It might be annual or seasonal or something like that, right? Which means that you get layers within the stratum. Those layers are called laminations. A stratum is a single depositional environment or process. So the next stratum up will have a different depositional environment. So while you might have a layer of like laminated silt or something because maybe it's being deposited by a seasonal river that flows slowly, the next stratum up might be, say, formed of like limestone or some other sandstone or something, right? So these quote-unquote polystrate fossils actually go through various laminae, not various strata. There are no polystrate fossils. They just don't exist. And this has been known since the late 1800s. That's when this whole thing was settled in the book Acadian Geology.
how long does a dead tree stand up around here before it falls down? 5 years, maybe 10 years? 5 million? Oh, no, not 5 million, that's for sure, right? But yet petrified trees in the vertical position are found all over the planet. I'll just flash through some pictures real quick here. There are all kinds of petrified trees found standing up. and they're running through multiple layers, and the kids are being taught the layers are different ages. And
Yeah, Kent, because you don't know which layers are strata and which layers are laminae.
yet here's one tree connecting them all. I'm having a hard time.
I believe I did say Acadian geology, as in the geology of, like, Louisiana. Bird.
Believing these layers are different ages. That's what I'm having. Central Alabama's got a large coal mine with a whole bunch of petrified trees standing up running through 2 seams of coal. Blue Creek and the Mary Lee. Now they're going to...
I mean, I don't know if that's actually true. There's no coal in this picture. But even if it were true, I can imagine situations in which one coal bed would be laid down by, say, a particular fire or something, and then another one. But I still have yet to see any actual examples of these so-called polystrate fossils going through more than one layer. Literally, the only thing I've ever been able to find is Kent Hovind quoting some guy who he says ran a coal mine. And I'm sorry, Kent, but you quoting some guy who ran a coal mine isn't a good source for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and say they don't exist.
I tell you in school, for coal to form, a forest has to grow, and then it all falls over and turns into a swamp, and then it gets buried, and then new mud washes in on top, and the coal slowly forms from the forest that was buried.
Wait, Kent, you just said that there were trees going from the Blue Creek into the Mary Lee, but that's not true according to this. I mean, I'm presuming that these blue boxes are the trees, but none of them meet your description. Okay, no, I can't.
Drinking.
That's too stupid. I just... Like, basically, my definition for too stupid right now is basically when Kent refutes himself. Like, stop refuting yourself, Kent. That's my job.
Wait, that means that one of the things he's saying is true. Right?
We already drank for it. You just want to drink again, don't you?
I'm just saying.
Alright, fine. We'll drink again.
I was just saying.
And then thousands of years later, another forest grows on top, and a whole new layer of coal formed. So if you find 2 layers of coal, oh, that took thousands of years. That's what they'll tell you in school. That's simply baloney.
No, that's not what they'll tell you in school. Because geologists are well aware of fast-forming or kinds of... I can't even think anymore. This is... Oh my goodness. It's not like geologists have this, like, oh, 1 inch equals 1,000,000 years, no matter what kind of rock it is. Geologists recognize that certain kinds of rock can be deposited as sediment faster than others. I mean, that's... Like, conglomerates are almost always deposited fairly rapidly, whereas things like sandstone take longer, and things like shale, fine-grained shale, take even longer. And slate can take frickin' forever to form. Like, this isn't... It's not rocket surgery.
We'll cover more on coal formation on video 6. But
yes, I said rocket surgery on purpose.
Coal mine. You look at sample A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I mean, any freshman law student could tell you, hey, folks, I think I can prove these 2 coal formations formed at the same time.
Well, maybe I have to move you. Oh, no!
Ah, what's happening?
Ah!
What's happening?
Oh, I have to do this. Oh! Hey, wouldn't it be nice if your previous example actually had that? Or there were, say, I don't know, a source? Because right now I'm just inclined to say, no, you're just lying. Because I have yet to see any actual source for this. Oh, goodness.
The source is drdino.com.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. There we go. Sorry, technical difficulties. Now you guys get to see my desktop. How do you like it?
Very quickly. Within a few weeks or months of each other, that's for sure.
Oh, that reminds me. Hold on a second. Look, guys. It's my my Charizard.
It's dapper.
Yeah, it's Dapper Charizard because I made myself a Charizard because they said, when I was growing up, they said I could become anything, so I became a Pokemon. There you go. Sorry.
Days of Noah. Cover more on that on video 6. In Cookeville, Tennessee.
I can't wait for video 6. 6 and 7 are the best.
Oh, we have a quick correction from Robert Adsit. Acadian geology was about Nova Scotia. That actually may be right. It's been a while since I looked into it, I'm pretty sure you're right now that I think about it. So sorry about that. And like I always say, if you guys have a correction for me, let me know. Because unlike Kent Hovind, I take correction, and I appreciate it.
Miles? What's that? 150 miles. In Cookeville, Tennessee, there's a coal mine with petrified trees standing, running. Here's coal at the bottom. The tree is coalified at the bottom, petrified in the middle, and coalified on top.
I don't see any unambiguous coal. That might be at the coal at the bottom, but you know what that is at the top, Bent?
No, I don't.
To quote Logic, that's one of those reliable whack job bafflers known as a shadow.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, shadows, my goodness. Whew.
Where it went through a second coal seam.
Except there is no second coal seam. There just
By the way,
isn't.
Why are coal seams generally found on top of layers of rock or clay? Wouldn't be a pretty poor place to grow a forest? Ought to be on top of soil, don't you think?
Do you think that there's just going to be actual growable soil deep into the sedimentary rock? Yeah, you're right. This is a drink one.
Kent.
Yeah,
Just killed some more brain
soils
cells.
lithify, Kent. That's basically what... That's what sedimentary rocks are, basically, Kent. You take some dirt, you compress it for a while, and it turns to rock. There's not going to be just a bunch of actual soft, loamy dirt in the middle of a column of rock. That's not how physics works. Not how any of this works.
Kent, have you ever heard of gravity?
Basically.
Pressure?
Intrigued Feline asks, remember when I corrected you on human evolution, Taperdino? At the moment, I don't specifically, but I don't doubt that you did, and you were probably right about it. Because, like, look. Yeah, and Philip Judge asks, coalified? I don't know if that is a real word, but I get what he means by it. He means turn to coal, but yeah, it's a weird thing to say. I don't know if that's a real thing.
It's fine. You can say that.
Coal formations were from swamps. The swamp provides. It's true, the swamp does provide. And the Emperor protects. If you know what that means, you get 3 internets.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Polystrate fossils are found all over the world. In
Except they're not.
Nova Scotia,
Like,
there
they're
are
never
dozens of
found
petrified
anywhere.
trees standing up, connecting different rock layers.
Yes. Laminae, or laminations, depending on which one, which is not to be confused with Lamentations, which is a book in the Bible. But laminations or laminae, depending on how Latin-y you want to be. Not strata, Kent. Polystrate implies multiple strata. But polylaminae probably doesn't sound very good. So I get why you don't go with it.
Scientists go up there and look at them and just say, wow, that's curious. No, it's more than curious. It's devastating to your teaching that the layers are different ages.
No, it's
There's
not.
a brochure you can get from our bookstore. It's $2.
Yeah, the laminae are different ages, Kent. By like a few decades, maybe, at most. And more likely, in many cases, a year each. Or less.
It's got 30-some color pictures of petrified trees in the vertical position. Occasionally, the petrified trees are found upside down, running through many rock layers. Now we really got a problem.
Okay, hold on a second. I have to pause on that picture.
Occasionally, the petrified trees are found.
You know why I paused on this picture?
Because I don't remember. No.
So you see how this picture has 3 different actual strata? It has this top strata with these quote-unquote polystrate trees.
Right.
Then it has a middle one with
no trees in it?
With no trees.
Got
And then
it.
it has a lower one that actually seems to have been tilted by uplift.
With still no trees in it.
Right. That's because there are only 3 strata pictured, Kent. There are multiple laminae pictured, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22-ish laminae pictured. But only 3 strata, or depending on how that uplift goes, because it's all kind of shaded about the same way, there could be as many as like 7 or 8, maybe even 9 strata, but most of them would be at the bottom. So you're just wrong.
Yeah, but that's just lines on paper.
Well, that's true. It is just lines on paper.
Upside down, running through many rock layers.
Also, T. Lane says, the Emperor protects, honorable battle brother. That is right, but remember to abide by the strictures of the Codex.
Now we really got a problem.
No, we don't, Kent. You have a problem with honesty.
The evolutionists have two ways to solve this.
I like how he says, I thought about this until my brain hurts, like so at all.
How long did that take?
Yeah.
1 second?
Yeah, basically.
They can say, well, Hovind, you know, the trees stood upright for millions of years while the layers formed around them. Or the trees grew through hundreds of feet of solid rock looking for sunlight.
Neither? Neither?
There's a third way to look at it. You know, maybe they were all buried in a big flood. How fast was that calf going? Keep that thought in mind. Okay?
So then why aren't
a flood of rock?
Why aren't they laid down in graded bedding, Kent?
It should be laid down in water.
Right.
Because that's what floods are.
And more specifically, the bedding in which they are laid down should be graded bedding. In other words, it should be a flood deposit. It should be a conglomerate in the form of graded bedding.
Mount St. Helens blew thousands of trees into Spirit Lake. Lots of those trees are stuck in the mud at the bottom of Spirit Lake.
Oh, on Intrigued Feline, I do remember that. He says, I corrected you on the degree to which there are questions in relation to burial practices in Neanderthals. Yeah, I do actually remember that. And I, once again, renew my thank you for that. Because, yeah, Unistrate trees from Tyler West. Yes, Unistrate trees. We need to start calling them that.
They're going to petrify in the standing position.
Once again, we have the heat map representing graded bedding. I love it. Nope, that's a drink. Every time, you know what? You keep refuting yourself, Kent, and I'm gonna keep drinking for it because I know you hate alcohol.
Don't get too drunk.
I mean, I only have one bottle of wine, so there's only so much drunk I can get.
It's a big bottle.
You don't know that.
I heard you pouring it. It took a long time.
That's because of the glass size. But you're all right that I am well less than halfway done. I'm about 1/3 done with that bottle.
More on video 6 about that. It doesn't take long for things to petrify. Here's petrified firewood. The guy chopped on it before it turned to stone. There's mummified dogs stuck in a tree.
Okay, corpses can dry out. I don't. What does this prove?
Nothing.
It's like, hey, you know how I know Islam is true? I had to get an oil change not that long ago. Therefore, Islam is... No! These have nothing to do with each other.
Turned to stone. Chased a coon up the tree, apparently, and got stuck. They named it Stucky.
He is actually true that is a real story, at least that there's a mummified dog, so I'm going to drink for it, because he got something right about this. Which also means I'm out. So here we go.
Isn't that a lot of pouring, chat?
Chat, you better side with me on this one. Not that much.
It's not Kent with Dapper Dino, it's Kent with Bent.
Yeah, but you know that I've done episodes of live Hovind debunks without Bent. I can do it again.
You do a great job of it, too.
I'll get Chris back. He'll come back.
But of your 1.25k subscribers, I bet all of them are from here for you, not for Bent.
Oh, actually, I don't know.
Okay.
My last stream, I got asked about when the next Count with Bent was. People want you here.
Good.
What'd you call it, okay? Here's petrified cowboy boot with the cowboy's legs still in it. The boot was made 19...
Hold on. Nestle20 says, at Depper Dinosaur, mummified fossils. Or mummified equals fossils. Checkmate, atheists. Oh!
Mummified equals fossilized.
That was Godzilla. Drink.
That wasn't me this time.
For the first time so far, it wasn't Bent. And then later Lumo says, do you know what a fossil is, Kent? Yeah, that's... Oh, I don't know. That's a very interesting question. Yeah, exactly. That's what he would say.
I'll have to do some research on that.
Because one of the things about this is he's like, oh, it's a fossilized boot with a leg in it. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a boot that isn't fossilized because it could obviously be peeled away. I'm seeing dried mud infilling where there was flesh, and I'm seeing bone. Nothing about this is fossilized. And I love that the reference for this is Bible.ca. So some Canadians decided to register the Bible as a website. Sure.
but it's from 1997, so
Oh,
it's
whoa.
almost current. In fact, it might be within 5 years of when he made this
That's
video.
true. This might be one of the most recent citations Kent Hovind has ever given us.
50, and the leg is turned to stone. Here's petrified fish giving birth. It does not take millions of years to give birth. Praise God, okay?
All right, we have $5 in Super Chat from Adam Morgan. A Japanese sumo team loses to prison inmates. Seems to me the cons outweigh the pros.
Ew.
Oh, and we drink for Super Chats, so here we go.
Well, I was drinking to the stupid first, but I'll drink to the super chat too.
Was there? Oh, yeah, that's true. I'll drink twice.
It doesn't take, what do you say, 250 million years to give birth?
Yeah, so... And one of my favorite things is that Kent always calls this a fish. I'm gonna have to move you a second. Oh, I did it again.
I'm dizzy.
All right. That's not a fish, Kent. Or if it is a fish, it's a fish in the same way that you're a fish. But that is a reptile. So I just had to say that because there you go. Yeah.
Here's a petrified hat. Petrified pickle found in a jar.
No, first of all, that hat was a calcified hat, Kent. We'll go back to it in a second.
Fish giving birth.
Oh my goodness.
It does not take millions of years to give birth.
Yeah, no one thinks it gives... Okay, the millions of years to give birth thing. Here's the thing, right? Let's say something dies in childbirth. I know, an unheard of event. Nothing has ever died in childbirth in the history of giving birth to children.
Yeah.
That's definitely not a thing that's ever happened to any humans or any reptiles or any other mammals or anything like that. It's impossible to die in childbirth.
No.
Right. But let's just pretend, just for crazy reasons, that something had died in childbirth. Because obviously, you know, I know that birth is the least traumatic experience any animal can go through. But still, we'll just pretend. Okay, so a creature dies in childbirth, however absurd that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it less likely for it to become a fossil than it having died in any other way?
Well, because of lines on paper.
Oh, right. I forgot about lines on paper.
Smudgeness.
Smudgeness, yeah, that's a good one.
I don't, water, blood, I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
Praise God, okay? Here's a petrified hat.
Yeah, calcium-coated hat, basically. So here's the thing with all of these things, right? Oh, we found a calcified hat and it's a fossil. So hard water, which I know most of you know what it is. You see it on ads and TV, like, oh, how do you get rid of calcium stains from your hard water? Yeah, that's what that is. If there's a hard water stream bed or pipe system or anything like that, and something gets submerged in it, calcium will deposit on the thing. But underneath the calcium is the original material. It hasn't been permineralized. There you go.
Petrified pickle found in a jar. The guy sent me the jar and pickle. He said, Brother Hovind, I found this in Montana in an old home. The house was junk. The roof was gone. The house was falling apart. But he said, you want a petrified pickle for your museum?
What about that says pickle to you? Other than being in a mason jar.
It's in a jar.
Right, that's the only thing. It's kind of longer than it is thick, and it's in a mason jar. If you took it out of the mason jar, no one would say pickle. Literally the only reason this in any way suggests pickles to anyone is the mason jar. That could be anything.
I said, of course, who in their right mind would not want a petrified pickle, you know? Come on down to Pensacola, Dinosaur Adventureland, and see the petrified
It's a
pickle.
Swiss cake roll.
Yeah, nothing about this looks like a pickle.
Petrified sacks of flour found in a flour mill that flooded in 1910 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
I don't even see what the sack of flour is supposed to be, but okay, sure.
Here's petrified toadstool. It was an amazing gem and mineral
I mean, I see why it kind of looks like a toadstool, but not really. So, I don't believe you.
museum just south of Bloomington, Illinois, in a little bitty tiny town called
Your
Sherwood.
chat is hilarious right now.
Wait, what are they saying? Oh no!
A lot of things.
Pickle rig,
Put the lime in the
petrified
fossil
pickle
and you comment it all up.
Oh man! Oh, Luca, you're here. You're okay.
Yeah.
Look, no one's late. Just Kent with Bent is not something you have to watch from the beginning. Kent with Bent is something you just jump into and have fun with.
I have to watch from the beginning.
That's true, I'm sorry.
I'm the only one.
Well, me too.
I guess so, yeah.
Illinois. You got to be trying to find it to get there, but it's worth going to see the Funk Gem and
Wait, the name of this is Funk Gem and Mineral Museum? That's already a funny name. Maybe the Funk is some guy's last name. I don't know. But I kind of hope it's not.
It probably is.
Okay?
Yeah, probably.
Petrified acorns. This kid sent them to me. He said, Brother Hovind, I was 7 years old at the time. He said, I stuck these acorns in a bucket of water, and I thought they might, sprout and make some trees, and I forgot about them. Next spring, my mama found the bucket on the back porch, and the acorns had turned to stone.
From all the rock that was dissolved in the water? What are we supposed to have assumed happened to these acorns? They're in a bucket, and they're covered in water. Where does the stone come from? Do you think that acorns just spontaneously turn into stone?
The flood? I don't know.
No, that's a drinks level of stupid. Yeah, that was amazing. They turned to stone because they're covered in water. And I love it that Kent doesn't even think to ask, well, where did the stone come from? He's like, no, it supports my narrative about rapid fossilization, so I'll just go with it. Who cares about fact-checking? Yeah. Why bother fact-checking? We can just lie for Jesus.
He said, would you like him for your museum? I said, of course.
Of course, yeah. I'll take anything that vaguely identifies with my ideas.
So kids, when they tell you the layers are different ages, you tell them Kent Hovind said they're confused or they're lying. It is not.
Okay, I actually kind of hope that some kid goes up to a teacher and is like, Kent Hovind says you're lying, and then just gets absolutely destroyed. Because it'll do that kid good. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, and I remember Kent Hovind got confused when Aaron Ra asked him if solid oxygen was a rock. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember that. Was that their first debate?
It was.
Have I even seen that one?
Well, if you haven't, we can watch it. I don't know if we'll do it.
If I did, it was a long time ago,
probably.
before we were doing Kent with Ben on YouTube.
Yeah. We probably won't do it as a Kent with Ben, just because I feel like debates aren't the greatest thing for Kent with Ben. But we can watch that separately if you want. Maybe even after this, I don't know.
Not correct. Those layers all formed, nearly all of them, at the time of Noah's flood.
No, that's stupid.
85% of Earth's surface does not even have 3 geologic periods appearing in correct consecutive order.
John Woodmarap. So, a young Earth creationist, not a geologist. Got it. So I'm going to drink for that one because you just quoted a creationist who was lying, and that's too stupid for me. My goodness. I hope no one's dying of alcohol poisoning besides me.
I hope even you're not dying of alcohol poisoning.
Well, at some point, Kent is probably going to be the death of me. I've lasted 150 million years so far, but Kent is going to do me in.
You'll outlive Kent.
I mean, maybe.
I think you will.
That teaching is what changed people in the 1830s away from believing the Bible to believing in uniformitarianism.
Except it wasn't, because the person who more or less suggested the geological column was, what was it? It was something Lyell, not Jason. What was the other guy? Some guy. You know what? I don't even care. We're not even going to do the argument, because I can't remember his name, and that makes me feel bad.
Just don't feel bad.
This teaching especially affected a young preacher. He just got out of Bible college, studied to be a pastor of a church. His name was Charles Darwin.
I'm Charles Darwin.
I love how studying to be a rector in the Anglican Church is to Kent just translates to, oh, he was studying to be a pastor in a church. Like, I'm sorry, Kent, but not all churches have the Congregationalist ecclesiology that you do. There are, in fact, other kinds of churches, and maybe you should use the terminology they use of themselves. But hey, what do I care?
Anybody ever heard of Charles Darwin?
No.
Charles Darwin graduated
I was
from Bible
trying to
college to be a
pose
preacher.
the Charles Darwin
And he's
pose,
going to sail around
since
the
my
world
face
for
was
5
where his
years
face
and collect
was.
some bugs for some, bugologist back there in England.
Bugologist. Yeah, that's the proper term.
Charlie brought some books with him. He brought his Bible, of course. He just got out of Bible college. And he brought this brand new book, Principles of Geology.
There it is, Charles Lyell, that's who I was thinking of. Charles Lyell was a lifelong and very devout Christian, and he in no way invented the geologic column in order to discredit the Bible. What he wanted to do was free the study of geology from an overly literalist interpretation of the Bible. But yeah, the dude remained a strong and dedicated Christian his entire life, as have many evolutionary biologists and geologists, despite accepting the obvious evidence that abounds in the natural world that the Earth is old and that life has evolved. But hey, let's just smear Charles Lyell with accusations of being an anti-God, Satanist, I don't know, pedophile or whatever. And there you go, I just got demonetized.
Charlie said that book changed his life forever. He later wrote to a friend and said, "Disbelief crept over me slowly. I felt no distress."
Well, I'm going to drink, because that was stupid, and I'll tell you why after I drink. So, I happen to know that this was not in reference to Charles Lyell and his ideas about the geologic column, or even really, in any great degree, about Charles Darwin's ideas about evolution. Charles Darwin's loss of faith had more to do with his personal loss and the problem of evil than it did with anything to do with science. Now, I'm not going to get into the philosophy of the problem of evil or theodicies or any of that stuff. But it really bugs me when people misrepresent historical figures. And one of the reasons for that is because, unlike Kent Hovind, I have a legitimate degree. I graduated summa cum laude with a degree in history.
Show off.
Yeah, I know. And it bugs me when people misuse historical sources like this. Because I spent years of my life properly using historical sources. In fact, I wrote a 20-page paper for my bachelor's degree about one dude in which I went to the Boston Public Library Department of Rare Books and Manuscripts and spent, like, I don't know, maybe 30 hours over the course of a semester just pouring through handwritten manuscripts in an effort to not misrepresent this particular historical figure. But whatever.
He slowly lost his faith in the Bible. As Darwin sailed around the world, he stopped off at the Galapagos Islands. Here on those islands, he noticed there were 14 different varieties of finches. Little tiny bird with a little tiny beak. But the beak shapes were different.
Yeah?
Now, the Grants went there and studied them and said, wow, during dry years, the beak is 1/10 of a millimeter thicker, and during wet years, it's 1/10 of a millimeter thinner. But it always averages back out.
Okay.
1/10 of a millimeter. Do you know how much that is? Not much.
Okay.
Darwin looked at the birds and said, you know what?
Was there a point to any of that? Was that just a random anecdote about the same birds? What point was he making there?
Smudgeness.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Look at that face.
I think all these birds had a common ancestor.
Maya says, Daffodino, you use facts correctly? Show off. Yeah, it's true.
I bet you're right, Charlie. It was a bird.
So I want to say, Burnbird says, ancient manuscripts in America sounds wrong. I will agree with you. Nothing in America, as far as like European colonists and whatever, and their descendants, is ancient. However, the Boston Library Department of Ancient Books and Rare Manuscripts contains numerous manuscripts from Europe that age in excess of 1,000 years in some cases. So, there you go.
And then Charlie said, well, maybe this proves that birds and bananas are related.
Okay.
Oh, he never said that. He sure did.
I mean, he basically did. Not exactly. So, you know what? Kent's not wrong on that one. I'm going to drink, because he said something true. It's been a while since we had a Kent was right.
So.
He didn't say that it was just because of this, but he did say that, or he did say something that amounts to finches and bananas are related.
He wouldn't believe me, so I brought his book. It's right here. The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. On page 170, Darwin said, it's a truly wonderful fact that all animals and all plants throughout all time and space should be related to each other. An ancestor. I wouldn't argue. Micro-related.
Sorry. Someone said, Kent is quiet or you're loud. Well, it could be both. Let me turn Kent all the way. Oh, Kent is all the way up. I'm probably just loud, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my volume.
How about me?
I don't know. Are you loud?
I don't know.
Maybe. But I lowered my volume. I've already lowered your volume a bit because you were tending to, like, peg high on my volume meter, so...
Sorry.
I forgive you.
Story is. This is a lie. What Charlie observed is what is sometimes called microevolution.
No. What Charlie, as you call him, observed was explicitly macroevolution. And here's why. Because macroevolution is evolution at or above the species level. And these finches speciated. Therefore, it is macroevolution. I'm drinking on that one.
I'm down to water, so sure.
Water? What happened to your cock and bull?
I finished all the cock and bull.
Well, get more.
I finished all the kombucha. I finished all the stuff.
Even in your refrigerator?
No, I got more in the refrigerator.
Well,
but that's all the way over that way.
I'll play a little bit, and I'll talk about the next thing while you go get some more to drink.
Fine.
Okay.
Microevolution tells us dogs produce
I'll
a
hide you.
variety of dogs. That's a fact. It happens, okay? And roses produce a variety of roses. Nobody argues about that.
No, including people who you might call evolutionists. Because dog, as you call it, and rose, as you call it, can be considered clades. And since you can't exit a clade to which you belong, then yeah, you can't ever produce anything that isn't a dog if you're a dog, or a rose if you're not, if you're already a rose.
The question is, does it go any farther than that? You may get a big dog or a little dog, but you get a dog every time. And probably the dog, the wolf, and the coyote had a common ancestor.
Oh, so probably the dog, the coyote, and the wolf had a common ancestor. Well, did they have a common ancestor with the raccoon? What about bears? What about seals? Why not? Kent doesn't know.
I wouldn't argue about that. We did the test this morning. Had a 5-year-old girl. Said, okay, here we have a dog, a wolf, a coyote, and a banana. Which one is not like the others?
The banana. Okay, fair enough. But then, let's say we add in a fox. It's still the fox. Let's say we get rid of the fourth option. Well, it's the coyote. Okay, well, let's say instead of a fox, we'll add in we'll get rid of the coyote. We'll put a civet in there, and we still have the banana. Well, it's still the banana. So at what point does this stop indicating common descent and start indicating a difference in kinds? Kent doesn't know. But he's going to make it as obvious as possible that he's going to draw from as far away different organisms as he can that you still know what they are if you're just some person in church who doesn't know about anything about biology. In order to pretend that there are these clean distinctions between kind that just don't exist.
You got it. A banana. We got college professors can't figure that out. Here's National Geographic says, the evolution of dogs from wolves. Well, duh, nobody's arguing about that. Yeah, dogs came from wolves, okay? The Bible says they bring forth after their kind.
And what's a kind, Kent? Kind. Wait, should we drink for kind, or would that kill us?
No, we should.
All right. I'm going to have to write these down. So, okay, fine, we drink for kinds. But only...
It'd be optional.
Once per sentence, maybe? Or once per paragraph? I don't know. Whatever. We'll drink for it.
We could do like kind, flood, water, but
no,
only once per.
I don't want to die.
But only once per stream.
Oh, okay.
For each.
See, this word evolution has 6 meanings. We've been through this before, so I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. There's first of all cosmic evolution.
Yeah, the Big Bang. Just call it the Big Bang. You don't have to call it evolution because it's not.
Bang.
Not
Secondly,
evolution.
chemical evolution, where all the chemicals
Nucleosynthesis.
come from hydrogen. That's baloney. Thirdly,
Ooh, I want some bologna.
stellar evolution,
like
where all
bologna.
stars form from dust.
Oh, excuse me, I burped there. Stellar and planetary formation. Got it.
You cannot get dust to condense into a solid star.
Yes, you can.
Can't happen. There's Boyle's gas
I
law.
prefer mortadella, by the way.
Boyle's gas law. First of all, it's just usually called Boyle's law, but nothing about Boyle's law implies that you can't get gas which is what we were really talking about, to condense into a star. Because Boyle's gas law, as well as the ideal gas law, which is essentially just another form of Boyle's law, what they both say is that an ideal gas has this inverse relationship between pressure and temperature. But the problem is that gases are never ideal. Both of those laws assume that there are no intermolecular relationships. But there are. So, invalid. In fact, simulations using well-established models of physics predict that gas clouds of sufficiently low temperature can and will collapse into stars, and the predictions of these simulations have been confirmed with actual astronomy. Crazy, right?
Drive it away, okay? Then there's enough stars out there, though we can all have 11 trillion to ourselves.
Okay.
Then you have organic evolution, where life gets started from
Abiogenesis.
non-living material. And then macroevolution, where an animal changes to a different kind of animal.
You finally got to one that's evolution, Kent. Good job.
None of those have ever
Took 'em long
been
enough.
observed.
I know.
Number 6,
Well, none of them have ever been observed, Kent, because you've never bothered to unambiguously define a kind, so I'm not surprised.
variations within the kinds, sometimes called microevolution. That one happens. The first 5 are religious. So whenever you discuss evolution, you have to define what you're talking about. If you're talking about number 6, I'm with you. I agree, that happens. If you're talking about the first 5, that doesn't happen.
I mean, they all happen, but sure, why not?
That's something you believe happens, okay?
I do believe it, because believe simply means accept as true.
Watch how they change the definition for the kids. Say, okay, boys and girls, evolution is change over time.
Okay, look. I'm going to agree with Kent. Because he's going to complain that the stupid definition for evolution in a scientific context. That's the word I was looking for.
Are you having a stroke right now?
I might be having a stroke, or I might just be getting drunk. We're going to let him go, but once he says something true, which I think he will, we're going to drink for it.
Is that really
Okay.
what you mean? Watch this carefully. In other words, living things have changed over time.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with him. That's a stupid way to put it. Oh, we get to drink twice.
Not me.
There we go. Godzilla, you gotta drink for Godzilla, because I'm a big fan of Godzilla. Bench is becoming a fan of Godzilla, I think, maybe.
Very slowly, maybe.
Yeah. Godzilla's great. If you guys haven't seen Godzilla, just go watch Godzilla. It's a lot of awesome fun. Don't take it seriously. That's my advice.
Wait. Are you going to skip over the first 4?
No, because none of them are evolution. Oh, I have to drink. Oh my goodness. By the way, one of the reasons I switched to wine for the stream is so I wouldn't have to get up and refill my glass. I could just refill it at my desk.
Good thinking.
That's why I'm drinking a red wine. That's why I haven't ever left.
They just want to bypass the first 4 stages like it's not part of the theory?
It's because it's not part of the theory, Kent. They're all, except for your last 2, they're all different theories, except for organic evolution, which is actually a collection of hypotheses of abiogenesis, none of which rise to the level of theory, because none of them have been sufficiently well demonstrated.
Can't take the stupid.
Yeah, so I'm going to drink again after.
When I typed out the rule, I wrote can't take the Kent.
That's fair.
Saying.
Well, then you don't have a coherent theory.
No, there are like 5 different coherent theories. But they're not all the same theory.
Then they say, evolution is defined as a change in species over time.
Maya says wine is the best when Hovinding, and you know what? I'm beginning to agree with you, because this is... Yeah, no, I'm appreciating this. And I know that Maya, as well as Erica, are both big fans of wine while doing this kind of thing. So I am beginning to see your point. So, yeah. And Neslick20 facepalmed, which, by the way, if you need facepalm protection, check out the links in the description, because one of them is for the merch store, and it includes a Dapper Dino pillow, which has a 15K image of me on it on my set. It is one of the highest definition images of the Dapper Dino you can get, and it's a pillow, and you can put it between your hand and your face for face palms. So check it out.
Now they're down to what I believe in.
pretty
I think
stinking
species
cool.
can change. I think you can get some really weird varieties of animals, but they're still the same kind, okay?
How do you know, Kent? How would you know? You haven't told us what a kind is. You never will, because, well, first, you're an idiot, ding, and plus, you're dishonest, so...
A lie, kids. That's not really what they mean by evolution. They want to give you examples of number 6 and make you believe that the whole theory has been proven.
I just want to point out, in our first episode about this series, we only got to lie number 2. We're on lie number 7 now, so we got through 5 lies so far. Well, alleged lies. So, we're doing pretty good. And that's one of the things about, the fewer people there are, the faster these go. So, there's that. Because, like, the last one, Erica was here. And I love having Erica here, because Erica is great. If you're not subscribed to Gutsick Gibbon, go do that. In fact, one of my mods, go put the Gutsick Gibbon channel in the chat. And everyone, all 35 of you, go subscribe to it if you're not already. Because Erica deserves all of your subscriptions because she has great content. And she's just she's a great person. She's funny. She's really smart. Just go subscribe to her. Anyway. But yeah, the more people we have on, the slower this goes. It's one of the reasons why the shills never get past like 3 minutes. So.
Don't get brainwashed. Most evolutionists will say, well, macroevolution is just micro with longer periods of time.
Because it is. You know what? That was true.
That was true.
No, it's not. They had a big conference on this very question in Chicago. They said the central question of the Chicago conference was whether the mechanisms underlying microevolution can be extrapolated to explain the phenomena of macroevolution. The answer can be given as a clear no.
Well, that's an interesting thing to have said in 1980. And that's where I'll leave that.
It doesn't work. Variations happen, sure, but they have limits. You know, farmers have been trying to get bigger pigs for a long time. You think they'll ever get a pig as big as Texas?
Yeah, because obviously, physical limits in biology represent biological limits. And I know why you're drinking, because I'm about to drink, because that's too stupid for me.
I bet there's a limit in there, okay? Roaches become resistant.
Yes, there's a limit in there. Thank you.
Yes, that's true. Also, Joseph Grant says, crap, I'm getting drunk. You're not the only one.
I'm not even drinking alcohol and I'm getting drunk. That's how much drinking I've had to drink.
But by the way, Joseph Grant, I do really appreciate that you're playing along, because it helps that I'm not the only one who's suffering with this. Because my God, am I going to be having a rough day in the morning, and it's not even 5 p.m. here.
This show could have been called Dapper Gets Drunk While Watching Kent.
Well, if you ever decide to quit these, that's what it's going to become, Carl. That's what it's going to become. It's going to be...
I won't quit these.
All right.
Pesticides. You think they'll ever become resistant to a sledgehammer?
No, because that's stupid.
See? There's a tiger had 3 kittens, all different colors, same litter. That's variations, but it's still a tiger.
Yeah, because it's always going to be a tiger, because it's already a tiger, and that's a clade, Kent.
That's not evolution. They always end up producing the same.
I mean, it probably isn't evolution in this one litter, sure. Because I don't think you could reliably measure the difference in allele frequencies in the tiger population. But that's just because you're stupid. You don't know what evolution is, or how to figure out if it's happened.
Kind of offspring.
That's just because you're stupid.
The new variety had
That
to
was
be
good.
in the gene code already, or it couldn't produce it. No new information is ever added. The gene pool of the new variety is always more limited.
Except it's not, Kent. Okay, Kent is someone who believes that dog is a kind, and that only kinds got on the ark. Therefore, all the modern dogs, which he identifies as Canidae, the whole family, had to descend from those first 2 canids on the ark. The problem then is, if you're always going to say that, oh, we can only go down in in information, then what that means is we had to have started with at most 4 alleles for any gene in the nuclear DNA, and no alleles in the mitochondrial DNA. But Bent, would you like to guess how many haplotypes canids have for mitochondrial DNA?
What are we talking about? 2?
Well, it would have to be 1 if Kent is right.
1? Is Kent right?
No, it's like 9.
6?
No, more.
9?
Yeah. And for most genes, cages have more than 2 alleles. Or more than 4 alleles, because that's actually actual maximum. Because, you know, dogs are diploid, so sure. Which means the amount of genetic information has to have gone up. So... sorry, Kent, but you're just laughably wrong.
Somebody spent years crossbreeding dogs to develop the Chihuahua.
Yeah?
All that money to make a dog that's 100% useless.
Ha ha ha, Kent hates Chihuahuas. How does that make you feel, having a part Chihuahua dog? Wait, you don't have a part Chihuahua dog, do you?
I do, actually,
Oh, yeah.
and it makes me hate Kent.
Well, I mean, didn't you already?
Oh, I didn't hate him,
But now you do?
but now I do.
There you go. Where is your dog, by the way?
My dog is all the way over here.
Put the dog on screen. Doggo! Doggo time!
This is just one more reason to hate Kent.
Aw, look at
Hey,
her.
dog. Kent Hovind hates you, and that makes him a terrible, terrible person.
Aw. Look how cute she is. Look at that.
All right.
How are you gonna hate her?
Kent. Seriously, Kent?
Kent is the worst.
Seriously, Kent? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. How long would the Chihuahuas last in the real world? Turn them all loose into the woods.
Infinity. That's how
Watch what
long.
happens.
I love this. It's like, oh, how long would the Chihuahua last if you turn them all loose in the woods? I don't know, Kent, how long would you last? Do you really think you could survive in the woods on your own, naked? With no tools? Yeah, probably not very long. Does that mean that you have as much information as a Chihuahua and less than a wolf? I don't know. Maybe that's what it means.
They'd run up to the wolf. Yep, 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 yep. Crunch. End of gene code, right? Genetic information is lost, not added when you get a strange variety. Real evolution would need an increase in genetic complexity. We don't ever observe that. Now, I grew up in Illinois.
I mean, it depends on how you define complexity, but basically every duplication mutation that is followed by, say, oh, I don't know, any point mutation makes the genetic information more complex. So, yeah, we do observe that. And I do appreciate that now we're getting doggo noises.
That's because I woke her up for this.
Corn country. Did you know there are so many kinds of corn up there, they have to number them?
Okay.
You'll be driving down the highway and there's a sign that says BX65. Don't mix it with XL29. Something will explode.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and drink for Kent, and here's why. Because it's true, there are so many varieties, they have to number them. Also, I'm going to be right back because of biological
They know
reasons.
why. They know why.
So, entertain people, or Bent.
All right. I'm very entertaining right now. I know. Look, sometimes dinosaurs have to urinate because they've been drinking a lot of wine. They're getting drunk. You just have to wait. I can't unpause the video. Click on unpause. It just turns video off. It's like I can't control his screen. But I can't hear him pee. You love everybody, Bird. You're drunk. But thank you. We do have some news about Kent with Bent that we're saving for the end of the stream, by the way. There's some exciting news coming. A little bit of a spoiler, a little bit of a, what do you call that? A teaser. A little bit of a teaser. A little bit of a teaser for the chat there.
And I'm back.
He's back. He
That's
was
right.
muted, so you guys couldn't hear him pee like I could.
Oh. Well, could you hear me pee?
Yeah,
Gross.
barely, but
Folks, you crossbreed corn from now till the cows come home, and you are always going to get corn.
Agreed.
You're never going to get a hamster or a tomato or a whale to grow corn stuff. It just ain't gonna...
That's so stupid. I have to drink. My goodness.
While you were gone, I gave the chat a tiny teaser for exciting news about Kent with Bent at the end of the stream.
What?
Where we're going to reveal something.
Well, now we have to reveal it.
That they don't know about.
That's true.
Happen, okay?
Yet.
There's a whole variety of dogs in the world, and they might have had a common ancestor. A dog. There's BBC News. It looks like 95% of current dogs came from just 3 original founding females. Hey, they're getting closer. Right here it says, today's...
I like how he's like, oh, they're getting closer, but really what it means is that your model of 2 original canids coming off of the Ark doesn't make any sense, because they're talking about actual dogs, as in Canis lupus familiaris. Not even Canis lupus, the gray wolf. So none of this supports you, Kent. It actually makes you look like a moron. But hey, sure, tell us about it.
Dogs come in all shapes and sizes, but scientists believe they evolved from just a handful of wolves tamed by humans living in or near China less than 15,000 years ago.
Hey, that was right, so drink for it.
So thirsty.
Well, maybe Godzilla will roar again.
They're getting closer. Man, if they keep studying their Bible, keep studying the science, they're going to be an independent Baptist when they're done.
No, they won't. But whatever.
You get done climbing the mountain of truth, that's where you end up, you know. Okay? This Irish textbook calls them divergent evolution. Oh, come on. They show 5 dogs around a wolf, and that's not divergent evolution. Don't give it a fancy name. It's still a dog.
And that makes it not divergent evolution because of...
Magic.
Oh, okay.
It's just a variety of dog. This Mexican textbook says, the horse and the zebra had a common ancestor.
Ooh, I like how it's in Spanish. Like zebra, burro, caballo. I like that. It's in Spanish.
I agree. It looked like a horse.
Yeah?
You know, 4-wheel drive, genuine leather upholstery, all the standard horse equipment, okay? They got little tiny horses today. We had the world's smallest horse come visit our dinosaur adventure land.
Okay.
Talk about useless. I mean, you know, you can't ride it.
If it were actually useless, Ken, no one would have read it. But in fact, its use is as a novelty item for people to gawk at. That's a use. You're doing it in that picture.
And we're doing that to Kent.
Right. Like, that's a use. I'm sorry that it doesn't have some kind of greater use in some eternal term or whatever. But yeah, being gawked at is a thing that people will pay to do. Or pay to have done. I don't know. People will pay to gawk at things, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The grammar got me all confused.
Well, it's grammar, you know.
Grammar is stupid. Don't bother with grammar.
Grammar, I hardly know her.
Exactly.
My granddaughter could, but it won't bark. You know, what do you do with a horse like that? You know, horses, zebras...
You are showing us what you do with a horse like that. You put babies on it for cute little pictures. That's the thing. You did it, Kent. You know what you do. I have to drink. My goodness. Kent is showing us what you do with a horse like that. And he's like, what do you do with a horse like that? I don't know. What did I do with it? I've never seen one. Oh my god.
My stomach hurts from laughing.
They have
Sorry.
competition in California. Who can get the weirdest animal? They get zorses, zonkies, zeonies, zedonks, zebras, and shebras.
Okay.
Here's a zebra who forgot to put his PJs on.
It's an albino zebra, Kent. What do you want from me? Like, okay, you found a pale zebra.
He's just making a joke, and it's terrible, and he's terrible.
Okay.
And I like terrible jokes, but that was unacceptable.
In the last 100 years, the Kentucky Derby's gone from an average winning speed of 127 seconds down to 123 seconds. Even in the old days, they had some pretty low times turned in, okay? Question. How much money would you guess has been spent on selective breeding trying to
A lot.
get the fastest horse for the Kentucky Derby? Millions and millions of dollars. They do.
Billions and billions and billions. Oh, Mothra sounds. Time to drink. By the way, Mothra, thank you for diverting that asteroid from us during the Heisei era. Because I would not have wanted that to crash on Earth.
Me neither.
And by the way, if you aren't watching Godzilla movies, at least sometimes, then what are you doing with your life? Other things, I guess.
The same thing right around here, don't they? Spend lots of money for a Tennessee Walker. What's the most expensive Tennessee walking horse that you've ever heard of? $1 million for one horse?
I don't know.
$3 million.
3? Oh.
That's how much per pound? And I was in Italy. We ate horse over there. It's good too. Tastes like chicken, you know.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that I think it tastes a whole lot more like beef than chicken. But having not had horse, I can't say for certain. I'm open to it though. But in the country in which I live, horse meat is illegal to sell for mostly no reason at all.
Now, I don't know if they've got to the absolute limit of horse speed or not. I don't know. But I suspect they're getting kind of close, okay?
Okay.
If you really want to win the Kentucky Derby, why don't you breed wings on your horse and fly around the track in 12 seconds?
Because what would be the starting point for the wings? Like, what are you going to turn into a wing on a horse, Kent? I know you know that evolution posits that you take things that already exist and turn them into things that are different from what they are now. What on a horse is going to be the start for a wing, Kent? What? What is it going to be? You can turn the front hooves into wings? There's a reason that flight has evolved in a few lineages, but never things that were already so ridiculously well adapted to running on the ground.
The whole point is, sure you get...
Oh, and I want to answer a thing from Burnbird. Horse meat is illegal in the US? No. Horse meat is not illegal. Selling horse meat is illegal. There's a difference. If you have a horse, you can pay to have it butchered. And you can then go and take that meat and eat it to your heart's content. But you cannot put that meat up for sale.
Varieties, but they're limited. There's a bunch of different kinds of cows in the world, and they might have had a common ancestor. A cow. This magazine's where you order chickens. All right, boys and girls, should we order, cinnamon queens, red rocks, white rocks, cherry eggers, or brown leghorns? Look what the magazine says. Jungle fowl are the original bird from which all varieties and strains of domesticated chickens are derived.
Okay.
Did you know all of the chickens had a common ancestor?
Yes.
Anybody want to guess what it was?
Oh, it was a chicken, Kent, because that obeys the laws of monophily. Which means this is a confirmation, I have to drink again, of evolution. I know the drink cues become more frequent as we go, don't they?
That they do.
Chicken. You got it. There are 8 kinds of bears in the world, and they might have had a common ancestor.
It was a bear. Yeah, Kent. All of the mammals in the world had a common ancestor. It was a mammal. All the vertebrates in the world have a common ancestor. It was a vertebrate. All the animals in the world have a common ancestor. It was an animal. All life in the world has a common ancestor. It was alive. Tell me which of those steps was wrong and why objectively, and then maybe I'll listen to you. But you know what?
You and your cladistics.
I know. Me and my cladistics. Cladistics is... I'm going to drink again. Cladistics is stupid, apparently.
A bear. Broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts.
It kind of makes me want a salad.
A common ancestor called a plant.
Broccoli.
A plant?
No.
They all come from the wild mustard plant, Kent. You could have been way more specific. But now apparently plant is a kind. So apparently daffodils and trees and club moss and I guess... I don't know. Maybe, what about cyanobacteria? I don't know. Or what about algae? Maybe they're a kind too. Apparently, plant is a kind now. An entire kingdom is now a kind, according to Kent Hovind. So I guess animal can be a kind too. Well, guess what, Kent? That means that you're the same kind as a dog. In fact, you're the
mercy.
same kind as a sponge or a jellyfish. If we're
Not
gonna
just
go,
a dog, a chihuahua, Kent.
yeah. Apparently, plant is now a kind. That's another drink cue because that is amazingly stupid.
What I was going to say is that broccoli is proof of evolution because no god would create broccoli. That would be too mean.
Wait, I like broccoli.
See you later.
I mean, with ranch dressing.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Broccoli's gross.
I mean, have you tried it with ranch dressing?
Yeah, I like the ranch dressing part.
Well, that's the point of the broccoli, is it's a delivery mechanism for the ranch dressing.
Sure. As long as I can't taste the broccoli, then I like broccoli.
In California, they got huge fields where they graft English walnut trees onto black walnut stumps. They do it because the black walnut stump, the root system is tough and can handle the weather over there. But the black walnut doesn't taste as good, it doesn't sell for as much money, and it's tougher to crack.
Okay.
English walnuts taste better, they sell for more money, and they're easier to crack, but the root system rots. So they
Okay.
cut them off and stick them together. They do it
Okay.
everywhere. Well, they can do it because they're both a walnut.
Oh, you know what? He's right. Let's drink for that one. Because, okay, sure. I don't know why it matters, but okay.
See, you could never graft an English walnut tree onto the back of a turtle.
He's right again. I guess we'll drink again. I don't know what his point is, but sure.
That won't work, see? Sugar beets were used for years. When sugar got expensive, they wanted to get sugar out of beets. So they tried to do selective breeding to increase the sugar content in sugar beets.
What do you know? He's right again. If I die after this stream as a result of an excessive wine intake, tell my kids that I would have loved them had I had them.
They
I will
raised it
tell
from
them.
6% to 17%. But could not, they ran into a brick wall. Hey, can't go past 17. And the further they got away from the normal wild sugar beet, the more problems they started having.
I believe you about that too. So drink again. And give me a second. There you go. Now I am at like a quarter of this bottle of wine left, except for the part that's in my glass. Oh, Godzilla! Take a drink. There you go, that was Godzilla.
Now you got to babysit the field.
Ben's dead.
Fungicides and everything else on it. Okay? Because its disease resistance goes down. People say, don't bacteria become resistant to drugs?
Yeah?
Well, that's because they lose information, not gain it. I'll show you.
Oh my goodness.
Dr. Spettner points out, this is based on a misunderstanding. For the mutations that cause antibiotic resistance still involve information loss. For example,
What's information, Kent? How are you going to measure it? You say this all the time, and you've never bothered to give a definition of information that makes it measurable. You say, oh, all mutations result in the loss of information. Well, how are you measuring it? I don't know. Just do. Okay, sure, whatever. That makes no sense, but why not go with it? I mean, it makes your version of Christianity more likely, I guess, if you just pretend that, logic isn't a thing, which is itself sort of an argument against your version of Christianity, but, whatever.
to destroy bacterium, the antibiotic streptomycin attaches to part of a bacterial cell called ribosomes. Mutations sometimes cause a structural deformity in ribosomes. Since the antibiotic cannot connect with the misshapen ribosome, the bacterium is resistant. Even though
And we have a $5 super chat from Chris Love, which says, cheers, drink up. And, oh, that's a Godzilla. We have 2 drinks we have to take.
This last resort water is, it's gonna keep me going.
You know what, Ben?
Following the rule.
I'm like the opposite, because I'm actually still drinking wine, and it's starting to kill me.
I mean, I did 2 kombuchas.
Oh
and
my
a ginger
god. We have a 50 sec donation from Burn Bird. So thank you so much for the sex. I do always love having the sex donated on the YouTube. But have a drink on me. Love the stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everyone who's super chatted. That is just awesome of you. I really do, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it, because you don't have to give anything. So here's a drink on you. Which, by the way, chat has now more than paid for my bottle of wine.
Nice.
Yes, it is very much appreciated.
This mutation turns out to be beneficial for the moment. It still constitutes a loss of information, not a gain.
I love how he's like, oh, it's only beneficial for the moment. Yeah, that's all beneficial mutations ever are. Mutations are only ever beneficial in the context of the environment in which the organism inhabits. So, I know, it doesn't mean that organisms gain superpower. Like, no organism is going to evolve into Superman. Okay. And, yeah, evolution is context dependent because it doesn't have any forethought or foresight. Thanks for helping confirm parts of evolutionary theory, Kent.
No evolution has taken place. The bacteria are not stronger. In fact, under normal conditions with...
They are stronger under those conditions. And yeah, under normal quote-unquote conditions, they would be weaker. But those aren't the conditions under which they are existing.
No antibiotic present. They are weaker than their non-mutated cousins. Give you an example.
Unidentified Leviathan says, at Dapper YouTube slams demonetization stamp. I know, right? This stream probably isn't going to be monetized. I mean, I already said the P word, so...
Suppose somebody's coming through town and they're handcuffing everybody, taking them off to jail, and then they're going to kill them.
Okay.
But you don't have any arms.
Okay.
So they can't handcuff you.
Okay.
Aha.
Aha!
Beneficial mutation to not
Yes, it is.
have arms?
Yes.
Well, yeah, for the moment, okay.
And that's all evolution cares about. Evolution... So you know what? Kent was right. I'm going to drink on it. I know, Ben. That water is going to be killing you. I should have bought some coconut water for this, or coconut milk, or whatever.
I still don't know why you suggested that I pee before we start.
Because you've been consuming a lot of liquid.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Oh,
sarcasm.
Enough. I don't get sarcasm when I am this far into a Kent with Bent.
But in long term, it's not beneficial, okay?
It doesn't matter if it's long-term beneficial. All that it matters for is the immediate context of the organism. That's it. That's all that matters.
And so all the examples they ever point to are bacteria becoming resistant to drugs. That's a loss of information.
That's not the only examples they point to, and it's not a loss of information because you haven't demonstrated what information, is.
Not a gain. The Bible is correct. They bring forth after their kind.
Well, you know what? We're going to stop there because we're at basically 59 minutes into the stream. So, yeah, that's a good place to stop. He's about to start a new quote. We'll get to that quote in the next Kent with Bent.
Which will be...
Not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. And we're going to try and do some weekly Kent with Bents.
So here's what the teaser was about. We're going to be doing Kent with Bent every single Tuesday.
Ideally.
Like 6 p.m. our time? 6:30?
So, yeah, probably somewhere around like 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, I know that's not going to be super convenient for the people in Europe. And maybe we'll do the occasional, like, Saturday or Sunday
We'll
stream.
do occasional additional ones, but we're going to do it weekly. It's going to be scheduled, same time. Maybe we'd have to postpone one every once in a while for whatever circumstances, but instead of just kind of like, hey, you want to do one? And like maybe it'll be a couple weeks go by. We're just going to keep it regular. We're going to schedule it for you guys.
Yeah, so that is something you guys can look forward to, is more or less weekly Kent with Bets. Hopefully.
It'll happen.
Yeah. Also, I have another episode of Creationism and the Big Bang coming out. That is the final episode. That is scheduled to premiere, I believe, this Tuesday, because this Tuesday we're not doing one. We're going to give it until the Tuesday after. Then I have a very long video premiering. I might try to do some kind of a stream on this Thursday. I'm not sure. I'm going to try and figure something out. I'm going to reach out to some people I normally stream with. Maybe Bent, maybe Chesh, maybe Erica. I don't know.
All of the above.
Or all of the above. I guess if they all want to stream with me on the same day, and that day being Thursday, then I'll stream with them. That's A-okay by me. But we'll see what happens. In terms of channel news, there is another series that's going to be starting soon. I haven't quite got the name for it, but I have the video I'm going to be responding to. I am working on an anatomy tour of a dinosaur. So I'm going to go through in a single video, like, what are the anatomical terms that are important to understand for vertebrate paleontology, basically. But I'm going to use a dinosaur as my example. Other channel news is I have some Leaving Earth Creationism episodes coming up. So I have at least one with, interestingly enough, the wife of one of my D&D players. So there you go. I also have potential other ones lined up, but I don't want to say too much because they're still a little bit up in the air. Let's see. What else? I don't think there's too much else. Go to coppermagma.com and download their music.
For free.
For free, yes. It is absolutely free. And, oh, hold on. I think I just missed a super chat. No, maybe I didn't. Nope, I didn't. I guess I didn't. Sorry, I didn't miss a super chat. I think that's about it. Ben, do you have anything else you want to plug?
Nothing else.
All right. Well, in that case, I really appreciate everyone who watched. It has been a lot of fun. And I know I get a little bit heated during these, but really it is all in good fun. And I really appreciate everyone who stopped by for the chat, everyone, especially everyone who super chatted and everyone who liked. If you haven't liked, hit like right now. And if you would, please share this. And we're probably going to keep the drink cues for our weekly Kent with Ben, right?
Yeah, and you can drink, like I did, drink something non-alcoholic if you don't want to drink that much alcohol.
Yeah.
Because there would be a lot.
Oh,
It's up to you guys.
I'm aware. All right, so I'm going to log off of YouTube, and I really appreciate everyone who's watching. And I know it sounds like lame and fakey, but it's actually true. Without you guys, without people viewing this channel, oh my goodness, that's
What?
Godzilla. We got a drink. Okay.
What happened?
Anyway, I really do appreciate everyone who comes on this channel, watch and chat and all that stuff. Because without you, I wouldn't do any of this. If no one was watching, I wouldn't do it. So, there you go. Let's see. Thank you very much. And I'm going to get out of here.
See you guys next time.
I'm Dapper Dinosaur. Have a good night.